Welcome, everyone, and thanks for being here. If you were here with us for our last session, which AI should your nonprofit actually use? Welcome back. And if this is your first time joining us, great timing. Today is where we're going to get practical. Last time we talked about the tools. Today we're going to talk about the work. By the end of this session, you're going to walk away with actual prompts, workflows, and a clear picture of how to start using AI as soon as possible. So let's get into it. First, let's do a quick level set. In our last webinar, we compared the four major AI platforms: Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, and Microsoft Copilot. We looked at what each one is good at, how they're priced for nonprofits, and how to figure out which one fits your organization. Today is the sequel. You've picked your tool, or at least you're curious about using one. Now the question is, what do you actually do with it? And that's exactly what we're going to answer. So let's take a look. Here's what we're going to cover today. We'll start with the quick mindset shift around how to communicate with AI. This one concept will make everything else land better. Then we're going to walk through 5 specific workflow areas: grant writing, donor communications, board reports, content creation, and internal operations. We'll also talk about how to build a simple prompt library your whole team can use, cover the most common mistakes that we see nonprofits make, and close with the next steps, including our AI stack review offer. Any questions can go right in the chat. I'll address them during the Q&A at the end. So let's start with the prompt mindset. This is actually going to precede the workflows. And this is also going to completely change how you use AI and how useful it is for you. AI is a very capable assistant, but it needs clear instructions. The formula I use is role, task, context. You tell AI what role to play, what you need it to do, and enough context to do it well. So here on the left is a bad prompt. Pretty simple. Write a grant proposal. That's like telling a new employee, do the new grants, and walk away. Just not that they don't know what grants you're talking about. There's no context. Now let's take a look at on the right. This is a good prompt. Act as a nonprofit grant writer with 15 years of experience. Draft a 2-paragraph statement of need for a workforce development program serving recently incarcerated adults in Wake County, North Carolina. The program has a 78% job placement rate and serves 120 participants annually. So through the same tool, but we're going to get completely different results. And we're going to see this live in a second. I just wanted to show you sort of an idea of what we're talking about here, and so you'll be able to see the difference moving forward. And there's one other thing I want you to internalize. You're the editor, not the author. AI gives you a strong first draft, but your job is to review, refine, and make it yours. That mindset shift alone takes some of the pressure off. So let's get into a grant writing overview. Grant writing is probably the single highest value use case for AI in the nonprofit world. Most development staff spend 60 to 80% of their time on writing tasks. Need statements, narratives, logic models, executive summaries. And that's exactly where AI can shine. Let me show you about 4 specific places where AI saves real time. First, drafting a statement of need. You paste in your numbers, your population, your geography. AI produces a compelling, funder-ready paragraph. Second, summarizing a full narrative into an executive summary, or adjusting tone to match a specific funder. Foundation language is a lot different from government language. And 4, generating a logic model outline from a program description. These aren't tricks. These are legitimate time savers that free you up to do the relationship work and the strategy work that AI can't do. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to show you is a real RFP requirement from a workforce development funder. I'll paste in my prompts, I'll give Claude the role and context it needs, and we'll watch it produce a first draft statement of need. So let me grab my prompt. We'll pop it in here, and we will run it. Now while this is running, notice what I gave it: a role, a specific task, the funder's actual requirement language, and also some concrete program data. So that's the formula. The more specific you are, the better the output. And here's our statement of need. What you just saw took, 20 to 30 seconds. Is this ready to submit? No. Is it 70% of the way there and a great starting point? Absolutely. And that's the point. You're not eliminating the writer, you're eliminating the blank page. I'm also going to drop in a starter grant writing prompt template at the end of the session. You'll be able to copy it and customize it for your own programs. The second workflow area is donor and stakeholder communications. This is where volume becomes the challenge. If you're a development director, you might be managing hundreds of relationships. Major donors, mid-level donors, corporate partners, board members. Personalization matters, but you can't handcraft every touch point. AI changes that equation. You can generate a personalized thank you letter for each giving tier, draft a mid-year impact update that feels warm and specific, or write a lapsed donor re-engagement sequence. And this is one of my favorites. We can take a dry program outcome report and turn it into a compelling donor story in about 2 minutes. So let's go take a look. So now let's go ahead and take a look at what we were just talking about. I'm going to paste in some raw program outcome data, the kind of thing that lives in your annual report. Watch what happens when we ask AI to reframe it for a donor audience. Let's paste in our prompt and run it. The key instruction here was lead with a human moment, not a statistic. That's the framing shift that makes donor communications work. We didn't change any of the data, we just changed the entry port. And there it is right there. And so now we've got our story as writing. And that's really your mid-year update, your year-end letter, your board impact report opener. One input, multiple uses. And notice that it's not generic. It's specific to Durham, to Title I schools, to that cost per student figure. That specificity is what makes donors feel like their money is real. Let's talk about board reports and program summaries. This is one of the most underrated AI use cases I've seen. Executive directors spend enormous amounts of time synthesizing information for board consumption, taking a 20-page program and turning it into a 1-page brief, pulling action items out of 2 hours worth of meeting notes, translating raw metrics into a narrative that tells the board what's working and what needs attention. AI is exceptionally good at summarization and structure. Give it a long document and ask it to extract the key points for a specific audience, and it will do that quickly and it'll do it well. Okay, now this one's pretty quick, but it's very familiar to a lot of us. I'm going to paste in a rough set of meeting notes. It's the kind where the bullets make sense if you were there, and if you weren't, it just looks like a bunch of bullet points. And I'm going to ask AI to turn them into a structured action item summary. So let me go grab the prompt, paste that in, and we'll run it. It's going to start returning us with our weekly staff summary, and it's going to give us action items. So we've got a clean action table, there's owners, there's due dates, there's decisions captured. That took about 20 seconds. Imagine running that after every staff meeting for a year. That's a real operational change. Content creation is workflow number 4, and this is where a lot of nonprofits are already experimenting, but usually in a scattered way. They'll use AI for one-off social posts and never connect it to a broader content strategy. What I want to show you is a more systematic approach, starting with one content asset you already have, a grant report, a program description, maybe an impact story, and batching out a full month of content from it. LinkedIn posts, Facebook updates, email newsletter content, Instagram captions. One source, many outputs. Let's go take a look. Okay, so let's go ahead and run the content creation demo. I'm going to paste in a single program description of about 2 paragraphs, and I'm going to ask Claude to generate a batch of social content across the 4 channels. Let's pop in our prompt and let it go. And here we go. It's starting right off with LinkedIn, and it's following those parameters that we put in for each one of these. And it's telling us, or it's meeting what we needed on that. And there we are. What you're looking at is probably 2 to 3 hours of content work compressed into less than 2 minutes. Now, does every one of those posts go out exactly as written? Probably not. You'd certainly tweak the voice, add maybe some photos, and adjust for a current event or anything like that. And you'd probably want to even change the language a little bit. but the structure is there. You're editing, not creating from scratch. The fifth workflow is internal operations, and I want to spend a few minutes here because this is where smaller nonprofits often find the most immediate relief. It's not grants, not donor communications, just the administrative load that nobody talks about, but everybody feels. Meeting follow-ups, staff update emails, onboarding checklists, SOPs. These are all things AI can draft quickly from your raw inputs. And for organizations where one person is wearing 5 hats, that matters a lot. Okay, so this is going to be our last demo. This one's for the operations folks out there. Shout out to operations, by the way. I'm going to paste in a rough set of onboarding notes, the kind of thing a longtime employee might keep in their head or in a messy Word doc, and ask AI to turn it into a structured onboarding checklist. Let's grab our prompt. Pop this in. Let's take a quick look at it. So see, again, we're giving it a role. We want the nonprofit operation manager, and we're giving it the parameters we need. And then here's the raw notes, just in bullet point section form, and we'll run it. And here we go. We're starting to get our checklist. And our checklist is going to be immediately usable. I mean, you would obviously want to add some org-specific items, but the structure is there, which is important. Think about all of the institutional knowledge sitting in people's heads at your organization right now that's never been documented. AI makes it much easier to get that out of people's heads and into a format that the whole team can use and build on. All right, here's where we start to tie this all together. Everything that I've shown you today, every demo, all the workflows, those depend on prompts. And if you're the only person at your organization who knows those prompts, you've created a bottleneck. A prompt library solves that. It's just a shared document like a Google Doc, Notion page, Word file, whatever your team's already using, but they're organized by category and task. With prompt templates, anyone on the staff can copy and use. I'd recommend starting out with probably 5 categories: grants, donor communications, programs, operations, and social media. Take those 5 categories, have 10 to 20 prompts for each, and you've built something that multiplies the value of AI across your entire organization. I'm going to drop a starter template into the chat at the end. It's pre-organized with placeholder prompts you can customize. We'll also make this available as a free download on our website and link that in the chat as well. All right, before we close out, I want to take just a few minutes to focus on the things to avoid, because this matters as much as the workflows. You always want to remember to keep sensitive client data out of public AI tools. No donor financial data or patient information should go in. ChatGPT's free tier, Cloud's free tier, these are not HIPAA-compliant environments. If you work at healthcare-adjacent programs or handle sensitive client data, talk to your IT provider before using AI for these workflows. We can help you figure out what's safe. Remember that AI can fabricate. It's called hallucination. It will invent statistics, make up citation sources, and occasionally just produce names and information that don't exist. Always verify any specific fact, number, or citation before it goes into grant or donor communication. Finally, AI drafts are starting points. The most common mistake we see is treating the first output as the final output. It's not. Your judgment, your relationships, your knowledge of the funder or donor, that's what makes it work. AI can help you get started, but you have to close the gap. And let's just take 5 things that we should have as key takeaways here. Number 1, you don't need to be a tech expert. You need to have the ability to create good prompts and a willingness to iterate. AI saves time on drafts. Your judgment is what makes it mission ready. Data hygiene matters. Know what you're putting in and keep sensitive information out of public tools. 3, let's start small. Maybe one workflow. Pick the one that costs you the most time right now. Grant writing or donor communications maybe. And master that before you expand to others. 4, a shared prompt library multiplies the value across your whole team. Let's keep sharing those. And number 5, ask questions and practice, practice, practice. Like anything, familiarity will make you more comfortable. And let's just get a few other things before we go to the QA. First, those downloads. The starter prompt library template and the workflow quick reference card will both be dropped in the chat at the end. Those are free. There's no strings attached. want to tell you a little bit more about the AI stack review that I referenced at the beginning, because I want to be specific about what you get. In 60 minutes, we cover 3 things: what AI tools you're currently using and whether they're the right fit, where the biggest workflow opportunities are for your specific team, and what your data and security practices need to look like before you scale AI use. And there it is. You walk away with a written summary and a prioritized list of next steps. It's not a sales pitch, but an actual plan. We've built this specifically for nonprofits because the needs are different from the corporate world, and the budget reality is different too. If you're interested, there's a booking link in the chat. We have a handful of spots available in the next few weeks. And that's our session. Thank you sincerely for your time. I know your days are full and the work you're doing matters, and we don't take it lightly that you spent an hour with us. The prompt library and the quick reference card are in the chat. If you have any follow-up questions after today, you can reach us directly. The contact information's on this slide. Before I let you go, drop your number 1 takeaway from today in the chat. I read every one of them, and it genuinely helps us make these sessions better. Thanks again, everyone. Have a great day.